Hello gamers! Some time ago, a YouTuber by the name of Psyche over here made a review of Fate Grand Order, and I mostly agreed with it. It was a very well-put criticism of the game, and now it seems like he has made a follow-up video about potentially doubting his own critique. So I figured since, you guys like me watching the first video as well, we're gonna watch this too. Now, this video, highlight of this might come out a bit later. People told me that he has specifically requested that people wait at least 2 weeks after this upload to upload like reactions, and as of right now it's only been up like 3 to 4 days. But I am watching this live on stream today, so this video will just come out later. So if you're wondering why I look different or something, I don't know, you know why now. Shout out to Psyche though. Do watch the video. I'm gonna link it in the description and his channel and whatnot, so do check him out. I gotta say though, before I even start the video, I never understood his thumbnails. Why does he always put like really weird faces in the thumbnails? Surely that can't be good for clicks, or maybe it's just me. Anyway, not to criticize the man himself, let's just start the video next. I might pause here and there, but I'm gonna try not to pause too much. Famous last words, it's probably gonna be like a 40-50 minute video, I don't even know, but let's go.
Fate Grand Order still holds the record for the longest consecutive and cumulative number of logins to any gacha game for me to this day, and I don't think anything will be able to top it. Despite missing many quality of life features, having one of the stingiest gacha systems out there, and dead event periods with little communication, it remains one of the top grossing gacha games still 10 years later. It's the second ever gacha game I picked up after Genshin, and while it has had a lot of jank, this is a game that's felt very personal to me during my time with gacha games. I think there's many things you can critique about the game, and looking back at my original review of FGO 1 year ago, I do have some updated thoughts about it. Hi, my name is Psyche, and today I'm going to sort of react and analyze my own thoughts about the review I made last year, then see which parts I still wholeheartedly agree with, and some parts I would say that I was definitely
Is that a quote from me?
So
oh
no!
Delay,
let's walk back into that.
no.
First, reinstall the game on my tablet and put in the account transfer code as FGONA is still one of the few gachas that doesn't have an account system. Deal with the weird cropped borders since aspect ratios are way too hard to figure out for this small indie company. Go back to the familiar background music, and would you look at that, the whole party's still here. So I began playing during the new year of 2022, and for a bit of
he's a
confession,
latecomer into the game.
to this day, strangely was the only gacha game I've played where I felt the most interconnected with the rest of the community and where I paid the most attention to the upcoming events. Maybe it was due to it being one of my first ever gacha games, or it was during a very turbulent part of my life where I actually had something to look forward to. I think now, having played many more gacha games, I will point to 2 games as being anomalies in the genre: FGO and Limbus Company. These 2 games have ravenously loyal fanbases, and despite some approaches to their designs that would have been considered a little strange, their following have held very strong over the years. I'll make that Limbus video at some point too, but now we'll focus on FGO. If you haven't watched the original review, I highly recommend it first. It's the longest video ever released on this channel, and I really don't care what anyone says. I'm very proud of what I made. Though I probably won't be crazy enough to make anything else like that again. This script was revised after the 10th JP anniversary was announced, so while the content is mostly focused on the global
JP anniversary made him change his mind a bit? That's
also,
funny.
to preface everything, I need to restate that just like last year's video, despite me having some strong ties to the game, I'm going to be fairly critical of FGO, and I understand that being one of the oldest gachas and having some extremely enfranchised fans, a critique of your favorite game is not a critique
Suzuka
of
is so hot.
Your relationship with any gaming company is purely transactional. If you've been a loyal player of the game and have made it part of your personality for some reason, this video is not a complaint against you. Becoming too enfranchised in a video game to the point of deflecting concerns and critiques when they're valid is, in my opinion, unhealthy and in some cases, dangerous. I don't wish to be a party pooper.
I feel like this is definitely taking pot shots at me or maybe some other people, but yeah, fair. I did, for what it's worth, I mostly agreed with his review anyway. I was just playing the devil's advocate for a lot of the points. He did make a lot of good points.
And thought, damn, do I still remember how
I still think the FGO could be a lot better, yes, I agree in that sense.
It was then that I just stared at my farming stages, realizing that there's still no auto farm or sweep feature in this game after 8 years, and I just thought, how did I even put up with this for 2 years? I recorded some clips of me reacting and commenting to my review 1 year ago, and at times you'll hear me interject with commentary straight from the clips, followed by points where I will elaborate on this in the script. First
Okay.
off, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned something about people reacting to my video.
Oh, here
I
we
don't know
go.
why I said this, the only reason I think I felt justified saying that was because the video took an extremely long time to make. Not only was the script 30 plus pages, I had to record the audio in 5 different sessions because my voice died after talking for like 40 minutes, and the final render took so many attempts to work because it just kept on failing. Anyways, I don't really have a problem with people reacting to my content, but I really just prefer people will wait like 2 or 3 weeks before uploading it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so
not gonna
again,
take
you
any
will see this
actions
video on a
against
later
anyone
day
unless
because
they
of that,
literally
because
just
I
wait
do
upload
want to
everything
respect
entirely.
his
I'm
wishes.
just
It's
saying
his
that if you
video,
don't wait
so
before the 2 weeks are up,
absolutely.
I
This
have no
video will
respect
come
for you.
out in like 2-3 weeks
Now,
after this came out.
Fate was a big deal in Japan back then. It often ranked number 1 in the number of Comic-Cat entries for multiple years. This has partly to do with what kind of gacha games the JP audience tends to.
That's funny. I'm gonna pause for a bit there. It's funny because, yeah, I remember for the longest time, FGO actually had the most doujins in Comic-Cats for many, many years. Nowadays, for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure it's Blue Archive. You can make your own, judgment calls as to why, but yeah, for the many, many years, it used to be FGO. So I remember those times.
To enjoy, and action-intensive games like Genshin can't really quite measure up to titles with a more casual gameplay loop, such as FGO or Blue Archive.
Oh,
If the rest of the
funny.
world considers Genshin as one of the most influential gacha games of all time, then FGO will be somewhat of the equivalent over there. Regarding the story,
Yeah,
believe it or not,
kinda.
I would personally rank FGO in the number 1 or 2 spot in all of gacha gaming. The reason why
Wow.
it works so well is that Nas and the
I
crew
agree.
are just really good at writing these fantasy settings with distinct locales. I read through Lost Belt
Yeah,
7
story and
and find that
characters
one
are
of
some of the
distinctions
absolute
with its
best
writing
parts of
style is that
FGO,
while
like,
the overall
hands down.
story is quite serious
That's-
with some
it's a
cinematic
fairly
fights,
common,
it's also
opinion,
balanced
though.
out by casual and lighter moments. It's one step further than most other gacha games, and I eventually will get to the other Type Moon visual novels.
Oh, Mahoyoru. I love
I think when it comes to
Mahoyoru.
comparing elements of FGO to other gachas, especially modern ones, you can't really compare most things unless it's the story. This is the one aspect I will defend FGO on. It proves that you don't need high-budget animations to tell
Yes.
a compelling narrative.
Yes.
It absolutely still reigns supreme in story quality in all of gacha gaming, and this is a stance I'm very firm on. I also quite like some of the story fights. Given that FGO is an older era gacha, some of the story stages are actually pretty challenging. This one against Tlaloc stuck out to me quite a lot. Basically, she will stun all your allies at the start of the turn, unless the NPC support Nemo is on field or if the
Oh
servant
man,
has a
that fight
levitating
was
effect.
ass.
I just thought the flavor of this fight was really well done, since Tlaloc
It's
is
cool,
the god
but
of
man,
rain,
it was
and
kinda
you're
ass
trying
to
keep
do.
your footing on the arena while there's
Lore-wise,
waves
it's cool,
crashing
though.
against you. It makes you think of a comp that you can use to counter this effect, even if it meant picking some niche servants. Some of the ascension stages for a servant even changes their traits, so the skill
Yeah, I like
use
the
on them
gimmick though on
actually
paper at
matters.
least.
Now, I did have a pretty busted lineup for this fight, but let's not talk about that. I think it's very fair
That
for
helps.
any competitor to try to match up to its writing standard or character design, but literally everything else, not a chance. You can't really say that just because FGO gets away with one of the shittiest gacha systems, you can put the same system in your game. Just because it gets away with not having an auto battle or sweep feature means that you don't need to put it in your game. Like I said, Fate has one of the
Yeah.
most dedicated fan bases I've seen in all of gacha gaming. Any new gacha game that tries to pull something FGO does can never get away with it. So let's re-review what FGO has to offer. We'll go over progression yet again then. I still mostly agree with what I said regarding progression. Now, one of the primary selling points is that FGO does not have any RNG relics. You equip a craft essence and that's sorta it. You can get a lot of good ones with farmable prisms and welfares, so generally speaking, it's not that big of a deal.
Actually,
Some
let
of
me
the
pause
ones
for a
that
bit. Let me pause for a bit. I just realized my audio channel is the wrong one.
Drop from the gacha can be a little influential, so there's that too. Regarding the quality of life portions, there's all these small things that make it quite inconvenient to level up your servants, like how you can only slot in 20 XP cards at a time, or how skills have to be leveled one by one.
Yeah, the skill
with a
thing is,
mandatory
it's a
cutscene.
drag.
So this part's obviously a little bit biased. Of course, you could just tap the screen to skip everything. It's mainly just to show how these different screens and all these different mechanics and menus kind of all add up a little bit over time. I think if Lasengo gave an option to just remove the screen, that might be a reasonable way to make it faster.
Yeah.
There's no refund for excess XP spent on a servant, so you run into these cases where you intentionally put half the levels
But yeah,
just in case you get
now
a
it's
super
fixed though.
success
But yeah, I
with
assume he's gonna mention that.
Even in other games,
Wait,
with
he
a similar
didn't.
mechanic, it's just something
Oh,
that you
but
don't
he
have
must
to
have
worry
made the
about.
video right
Wait a
before it
minute,
came
did
out.
they actually improve it?
Wait,
Or
no.
you just get more filters now, but you can still only fill 20 cards at once. Well, that's definitely
No,
an
but the refund
improvement.
is still there. It is
I
there
think I
now.
didn't have to correct my original script. You almost had me there, Losango. Now,
Wait,
since FGO
I
does
thought that was
not
going to
have an
lead into him
RNG
doing that,
relic
but I guess
system,
this video was
there's gonna
made
be
before
something
that.
else to
Anyway,
counteract
yeah,
that,
you do
and
get the
that
refund
mainly
now.
comes from the immense amount of grind you have to do. How many materials do you need to level 1 skill past level 8? 72. Yeah, without auto farm or sweep features,
Yeah.
you're gonna be farming for a while. Because of the lack of RNG relics, games like this will have to claw back the time you would have spent to farm said relics some other way. I also want to talk about the dupe system. So you can pull a servant 5 times to get their NP level to 5, with diminishing returns the higher you go. After thinking about it a little bit, I was originally going to change my stance on the dupe system,
Okay.
since it's technically just a stat-based increase. And
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't
not
lock
FX.
powerful new
FX are not
casters
locked,
behind
which is
dupes,
great.
like the MiHoYo games.
Yeah,
When I
Hoyo is
thought about
pretty
it-
bad with this.
Yeah, no, it's still pretty bad.
It is
First,
bad,
if we were
but
to compare the
okay.
power level of servants,
okay, he's probably gonna elaborate more. But I will say this: I stand by the fact that MP levels in FGO are not as important as they seem like. In a lot of gacha games, dupes are important and make a big difference. In FGO, assuming you're not min-maxing farming speed, where I think that's where MP levels truly matter the most, I think a lot of servants, if not most servants in the game, are fine with MP1. Max their skills, you're good. Give them some foes. I will stand by that. That I will stand by. Especially supports. They will never need MP levels. Like an MP1 Castoria, you pull her once, you're basically good for the rest of the game. But yeah, I guess fair.
MP2 damage is quite a noticeable jump in output, which can be relevant if you factor in farming, which is realistically what the game is mostly
Exactly.
about. As MP1 damage can be a little ass.
Yeah, it's mostly for
With
farming.
90++ farming nodes and 1 million HP enemies becoming the norm, if you want to be efficient with farming, you're likely going to have to spec into the niche damage dealers with super effective mods. And dupes, let's not beat around the bush here, can absolutely make a difference. However, there's also a second portion now, the servant coins with the append skills. Granted, you can actually fully max out an SSR and get one of their appends if you farm the hell out of bond points, assuming you only pulled one copy of them. And that's not considering the loot.
Can you get one append with 120 on MP1? I thought you can't. Isn't it just 120 is possible now on JP, but no append? Wait, you can? Oh. Not yet. But I'm talking about the JP update. Oh, well that's good. Yeah, that's not bad. I thought it was just like allowing 120, but I guess the coin is nice too. Sure. I mean, yes, it's a crazy amount of bondo, like he's saying, so but yeah, still improved, I guess.
First amount of mats needed to max out any append at all. Something I would suggest, which is not going to sound pleasant to the Aniplex higher-ups, would be farmable universal servant coins. They did this to compensate for certain changes.
Coins could still use improvements.
So since it's already in the game, there's a chance. So my opinions on this has not changed to this day. FGO, at least in my opinion, still has the worst gacha system I've seen in any gacha game.
Possibly
Just like
true,
Reaction
yes.
Psyche
Of
said,
course.
in my opinion, FGO still has one of, if not the worst gacha system in all of gacha gaming. This part of the video I still wholeheartedly agree on.
Yep.
Same goes
Same.
with all these suggestions I made. I saw some people argue that you can get over like 2,000 Saint Quartz every year roughly, so in the worst case scenario, you can pity 3 SSRs minimum. Now, 3 SSRs in a year in any gacha game is gonna be pretty stingy, and the whole point of a fair pity system will be to catch you in unlucky scenarios. And I just don't really see how you can make that argument that the gacha isn't that bad, especially if you consider...
I don't think anyone's gonna argue about the gacha point, still.
And also, there's no 4-star pity. Since there's no pity carryover, even if you pull a banner specifically for the 4-star, you still might get shafted there. I'm just saying it's happened before. I feel
shout out to
as if some
Plushy.
people are kind of deluded that as long as they get a lot of free pulls, even the stingiest gacha system can be forgiven. Now, instead of lowering the pity counter to 200 pulls, or making so that it carries over, apparently 1,000 Saint Quartz is all it takes to shut some people up. Also, I feel
I don't think it's gonna. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna make a video about the 10th anniversary as well, where I address everything and my true feelings and everything. It's just I feel like it's not really gonna shut people up like he was saying. It's just people being happy in the moment that they just got 1,000 quartz. The opinions will still stay about the gacha system. I don't think that will really ever change. But I mean, if you give that much quartz in one go, of course people are gonna be happy. But that's all there is to it. It's just that, you know, a momentary happiness. So no one still likes the gacha or has thinks the pity is good or anything like that. It's just that, hey, 1,000 quartz, thank you so much. I'll be happy for a while until it runs out, and then I'll be unhappy again.
In the story banner until the end of 2025, there's still no pity system there, and the story log servants are mixed in with the spooks. You are not.
Yeah, they should have a pity on story. It's weird that they don't, even if the pity sucks.
That being said, it's not nothing. You can't be mad with 1,000 Sane quartz and a free daily pull for the rest of the year. I'm just saying that it does nothing to fix the innate problems with FGO's gacha system.
Exactly.
And my critiques last year all still stand. Here's one more improvement that I thought of in addition to the original review on how the gacha system can be improved. Imagine a way to farm for servant dupes without interacting with a gacha. Insane concept, I know. I also want to bring up the matter of the GSSR. The fact that this remains one of the best deals in the game if you spend money really puts a perspective on what's considered the norm in gacha game spending. A while back, when I played GFL 2, there was a package for about $40 that lets you pick from any limited 5-star in a small pool, in addition to their weapon. This sounds ludicrous in the context of a purchase in general, except if you compare it to other deals in the game, it's actually an extremely good deal. Ah well, Expedition 33 can wait. I need my dose of Gamba. You know, if I didn't stop playing FGO last year, Tezcatlipoca would have been one of my pull targets. So let's do this. It is just that easy.
Yo, Tez.
In all honesty, his art looks very, unique, but I actually quite like it, if you can't already tell. I gotta say, FGO does take a lot of effort to preserve its lore.
I still don't understand his thumbnails. Like, this one is tame, but some of the other ones, they creep me out. I don't know, man. This is something about them.
But still, that's some dedication to the lore. Also, I just got this really cool idea for Lysango to make even more money from the GSSRs. What if they made it so that you can actually roll once on every GSSR banner, so that when you spend money to roll on one banner, only that banner disappears, but the other ones are still fair game.
Oh, he's saying like you can try the results and then choose. Okay. I mean, that could be kind of cool, yeah, sure.
I know, genius idea. Moving on to presentation. Unfortunately, there weren't a lot of improvements made to the intuitiveness of the UI or the mechanics. Auto farm or sweeping still don't exist. I know some people pointed out that there is a third-party tool where you can let it farm stuff for you. I actually knew about it when I made the first review, except I didn't bother mentioning it as I really can't consider it to be part of the official game.
I mean, it's not.
Like how modding fixes Skyrim because it patches the problems in the base game. The sorting system in the menu is just abhorrent. Recently, playing through Lost Belt 7 and the summer event, I had a lot of trouble trying to sort through the roster finding certain servants or CEs. I understand that FGO is a pretty old game and the roster is just going to expand over time, but I found managing and finding who you want to the roster to be fairly rough. This entire filter is just very unintuitive. Like, if I wanted to search for Fragment of 2030, if I didn't already have it maxed out, I'd have to...
Okay, so I think they could definitely add like a search, that's fair, but I don't think the filters are that bad. This could be a nitpick, honestly. I think the filters are... Especially once you start using them a lot, you will know exactly where every filter is and whatnot. I think filters are fine. But a search bar would be nice, though, to type in like a CE name or whatever. That could be still nice, but I don't know. I don't get this part.
This incredibly convoluted filter, and
maybe he never really used filters before, though, so they were a bit overwhelming at first.
But you know, small indie company.
Yeah, the search bar I understand, but everything else I think is fine for filters.
Over the past year. See, I actually knew that a lot of the systems will be added to NA this year, except I never really got to see them in person to really know its effects. I saw that I could pick up past welfare event 4-stars and CEs, so I immediately got Rider Kentucky and Golden Sumo. Again, I do have to give credit to FGO for giving welfare units for some events and a boatload of free CEs. That's just not something a lot of gachas do. I would have preferred if all past events were archived, where the player can just choose to download its assets if they want to play it. So this is the portion I disagree the most with my past self. After spending a decent amount of time in other gacha games, I'm less strict on when it comes to what the game thinks is an appropriate content update period. Different fan bases have different tolerance levels, but as long as there isn't widespread discontent from the players, the devs can really get away with whatever they want. I think from an objective perspective, 2-week events with no dead periods in between is seen as the norm these days. And once again, if a newer gacha game with no backing try to pull the same content schedule as FGO, there's a good chance it simply won't survive for long, because that's just not what the modern gacha audience has come to expect.
So I guess he's talking about... Okay, I see.
FGO is absolutely not a small indie title. It's backed by one of the biggest publishers in
I mean, I guess the game could have more content regularly.
Used to be 2 weeks. and the transition to 3 weeks did not bring enough additional content with it. In my opinion, of course. Granted, most of the content is in farming, since you have to figure out who your roster is best suited to tackle certain enemy lineups, and if you just want to use the more universal farming techniques, you can do that too. I did play the Summer 8 event, and I realized just how dependent the game is on getting you to grind for everything. Not only is the story campaign both gated by time and materials, you kinda have to complete it if you want to keep the welfare 4-star. I've seen a lot of gachas just split their story and farming content in events, and I don't understand why the game forces you to farm materials before letting you continue playing in the event story. In the original review, there's a
I don't mind the way the events work, personally. I don't know.
As you know, Lost Belt 7 took an immense amount of time for it to be released, with the Road to 7 campaign taking over the course of a year. Now,
okay, that was a bad one.
Chris Alter's banner being run despite the story being delayed, and she hasn't made any.
Yeah, that was a bad one too.
Obviously, my theory on how the game is willing to jeopardize its creative integrity while trying to make a few bucks for that month's revenue can come.
I mean, to be honest, I think that was like the only time something like this has happened, and I do agree it was a stupid choice by them. They even specifically for Lost Belt 7, they also said that there weren't going to be any more banners until the end of the year because they wanted to avoid spoilers. And then at the start of the year, we got the Nido Alter banner anyway, before she was in the story. So yes, that was absolutely stupid. But I don't think they've ever done that otherwise in like 10 years, I think. At least not to that extent. So I feel like, yes, that one time was bad, but I don't know. Guess they're a year before LB6. Yeah, but I feel like that's fine. Like, I don't think that... I can understand that in a different way. Because we didn't really know much about her anyway. Like, this Nido Alter thing definitely was a story spoiler. Because we already had read some LB7 at that point. We knew Nidocris was in there. And this was specifically an LB7 banner as well. So it full on just like, oh, this is going to happen. Like with Castoria, we were like, oh, cool. It's an Artoria, the face of the game. She now has a caster variant. She's probably going to be relevant at some point, but we don't know how. And then she's right, and when LB6 started, she's right there at the beginning. So I don't think it's really a spoiler or anything. Like, it wasn't a grand reveal. So I still do think it was a bit of a different case. But yeah, the Nido Alter thing, that was stupid. They messed up. And then NA did the same thing that JP did. They didn't fix it either. So yeah.
Biased. It's based on my own speculation, and there's the possibility that it was done in the way that it did for another reason. Now, everyone's biased. If I said I wasn't biased, I know I'd be lying. Although, even after all this time, I try to think of a different explanation, and I still just can't.
Yeah, that was just stupid.
It's my own opinion that Losango is not a company I will put my unconditional trust in, and I can't think of a single reason why they will release a new 5-star while the corresponding story was delayed other than greed. But hey, I'm glad NA didn't have to deal with this. I said this in the original review as well as...
What do you mean NA didn't have to deal with this? We did! We got screwed too. Well, assuming you didn't know about the story. Maybe he's assuming people know this stuff from JP already, but if they didn't, they also got spoiled. I'm not sure what he meant there.
A few other of my videos, but I want to restate just how important this is in gacha games. It pays well to be stingy. If you're known to not be too player-centric and people are willing to play the game anyways, then if at some point you do something that's remotely considered generous, then everyone praises you. Take a look at the 9th anniversary servant coin changes.
Boy.
By making so that maxing out servants required even more dupes, this caused a sizable amount of backlash on the JP servers. As you know, in a response,
that was a travesty at first.
To compensate players. Now, had this been most other gacha developers, that would have been seen as normal. Except in the context of this company, getting a response this quickly is extremely unprecedented. Historically, FGO is not...
Yeah, it caused a massive uproar.
Devs. This is the same company that took 6 years before implementing a bare-bones pity mechanic. If they were player-focused, they would have made it easier to navigate around the UIs, create a quality of life.
He's back to the filter thing? I do agree, the UI has a lot of issues, but I don't agree with the filters besides missing a search bar.
You can't see exactly what skills do.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to, like, yes, again, when I was talking about the last time, I was like, just use the wiki. Yes, I get it, but it was mostly playing devil's advocate. I absolutely agree that the game should give you way more detailed descriptions of stuff in game. Way more. in battle, outside of battle, we should have way more information. So ultimately, I still agree that that is something that should happen. So the thing I was talking about the wiki was mostly a devil's advocate thing. I don't actually think it's better or good that the game doesn't tell you everything you need to know. So just to put that out there, now that he's mentioning this briefly as well. So yes, the game should tell you numbers, all the effects properly, show enemy like attributes, alignments, same with your servants before battle, etc. All of that should be in the game.
If you need the precise numbers in-game,
Oh, Utsu, thank you for the 4 months, man.
instead of having to look it up. There is also the matter of animation updates. Now I know it's a lot of work, and I know Lasengo is a small indie company. I know you can't profit off the lower rarity units. If they ever do decide to get rid of the caster balls, that'd be a sight to behold.
We still have some, crazily enough.
Huh, would you look at that? They actually did it. That's good.
Well,
Keep that
there's
up,
still
Lasengo.
some caster
Maybe
balls, though.
someday my goat Leonidas will actually get some animation.
That's the biggest
However,
crime.
one aspect I do have to
That he
give
doesn't
credit
have the
for is
Babylonia
buffing
MP.
of older servants. Despite just being changes to their stats mostly, it is something that I do appreciate, and it makes
Yeah,
older
buffs.
units
FGO does.
not as bad
The
as
FGO has been doing a lot of
powerful
buffs in the
can
recent
still
years
run
again.
up
That's
units.
good.
So good on them there.
Yes.
I would have liked for some really old units to enter the standard pool, but I don't think that's ever happening. I also want to address what I predict will be the future of FGO.
Okay.
Eventually, the Lost Belt arc will end, as there's already been 7 of them, and the
Yeah, at the
4
end of this
Yoko
year.
chapters are already run in JP. Part 2 is confirmed to receive an ending this year.
Mm-hmm.
The question then becomes, is the entire FGO storyline done, or is there going to be a part 3? My prediction is very simple. No way in hell does the story end here.
Exactly.
If Nas doesn't write the
Anything.
story, someone else.
Anyone that says anything else would be insane. FGO is not ending, especially now that since they didn't announce a new game or anything like that. If they announced a new game, you could make some theories about it. But now that since we don't know for sure that there's like, at least unless they're hiding something super big, there's nothing in development for another game, FGO will keep going. It will not end at the end of 2025 with part 2. There's going to be something more. Whether it's a part 3, whether it's titled something else, who knows? It's definitely going to continue.
Will. FGO is way too big of a cash cow to give up. How much closure will the part 2 ending provide? Is it going to wrap up everything nicely so that part 3 will get a fresh start?
I'm guessing the ending is going to lead
It's
into the next
unsolved
story
mysteries
thing.
in order to string you along to continue playing for part 3. Ending the story of any live service game is a dangerous endeavor.
Honestly, though, I hate pausing so much, but I feel like if and when they're going to do part 3, they should make it so that it's not really super related to part 2, because at that point it's going to be harder and harder to get new people in, because you would have to clear all the prerequisites, and clearing part 1, part 2, audio call, everything, that would be a big ask to get started with part 3. So they should keep it, sure, you keep it in the same game, but just do a clean slate of some kind, so that even new players can kind of get, into it fast, and then they can do part 1 and 2 and etc. on their own time later. That's what they should at least think of.
A lot of players might just move on from the game, as they feel that the ending provided a lot of closure, and now that the show is over. The ordeal.
How would they do that though? Start a new story arc. Use the same game. Maybe a lot of new characters, etc.
This was the last chapter for part 2? Nah, there's still some loose ends that need tying up. You gotta tune into the next couple years to find out what happens.
Yeah.
As a live service game where player retention matters, it's very beneficial to
new
let
protagonists could be a thing,
that
yeah.
The game's story is not going to end. Of course, I would have a lot of respect if it did tie everything up, and part 3 is about something completely different. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that Nas will be asked to write part 3. You can basically describe him as the beating heart.
After the interview, I'm not sure if he wants to though.
The incentive to play the game is due to its story and world building. There's just way too much money on the line. If I was him, I'd milk this until the end of time. I think realistically...
I mean, after the interview, I'm not sure if he read the interview or knew about that specific part about it, but he seems like, the sound of it, Nasu is in, like, he doesn't know if he's happy that FGO is such a big thing and that he worked so much on it. Because he sounds like he's someone whose passion is mostly writing new Type Moon works by himself. That's what it sounds like. So even though, yeah, he obviously knows how much money the game makes, and it would probably be financially smart for him to continue doing so, I'm not sure if FGO is where his heart is at right now. So remains to be seen. Maybe he'll change his mind. Maybe he will like it. We don't know yet, but that's the vibe I got from hearing that thing from the interview.
In regards to the game itself, I really don't think they need to make any changes to the UI or systems. I think in an ideal scenario, I would love to see an overhauled version of the game with better UI and more intuitive designs, but something tells me that's not happening. This current version of FGO is coasting along just fine, and I think most fans would rather keep the familiarity of the existing version. The very definition of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
My final conclusion for Fate Grand Order is, great story and designs, kinda ass for everything else. Despite this,
honestly, that's fair.
In a conclusive way, I'll probably come back and go through the Ordeal Call chapters myself when they eventually finish Part 2 on the NA servers. I think it's all but guaranteed that a Part 3 will be released in the future, and with this train chugging along for 10 years already, the game will probably outlast every single gacha game out there.
Chances are.
Having one of the lowest budgets and missing a ton of modern features. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this retrospective on my review a year ago.
Okay.
If you want to catch more highly specific analysis related to gacha games, you know what to do. For those who want to go the extra mile, you can support for what I do for as little as $2 on Patreon. Thank you for watching, spend moderately, and have fun out there.
There you go. Oh my god, there's one of the cursed thumbnails I was talking about. Oh my god, I don't even know, bro. Dude, I don't know, man. What even is that? He will never watch this video, I'm pretty sure. But I'm mentioned it a few times now. I would change the thumbnails, bro. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of funny in a cursed way, but I think it will actually hurt the clicks ultimately. He will never hear about this anyway, because I doubt he's going to watch this, but there you go. Closing statement, I guess. But yes, cool video. I liked it. I, again, very much agree with most parts. There was a few little things I disagree with, like the filter stuffs. But besides that, yeah, pretty usual, standard, good points about the game. Not super different to the original video, but a cool little retrospective from him anyway. So hey, shout out to Psyche. I still don't know how to pronounce his name, honestly. I'll link the channel. I linked this video as well. And again, by the time this video is out, it's already been at least 2 weeks, hopefully. So most of you guys have probably seen this by now, but if you haven't, go check it out. At least production-wise, it is a very nicely well-put video. So yeah, that will conclude my reaction to the video as well. And hey, if you enjoyed this side as well, you know, like on the video and all that good jazz. Subscribe for more. Not sure if he's ever going to release more FGO videos, but if he does, and they're very well made, I don't know, we might keep doing this because it's kind of fun. Not a whole lot of actual non-FGO mains out there making videos about FGO, so this is kind of a rare treat. I'll gladly watch all the videos people make about FGO. Shout out to the patrons, and otherwise have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you in the next video. By the time this is out, summer is out on JP already, so hopefully it was good. Yay, Pog for summer. I don't know, this was recorded way before that, so yeah, see you in the next video. Bye bye.